What's popping, billionaires gang? How you guys doing? Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon wherever you are. So quickly, we just want to make a recap and also what I'm looking forward to today, right? So basically, I made a video yesterday explaining what I'm looking for and explaining zones that I want to go long or zones that I want to go short. I posted it yesterday. It was a short video and I explained everything, right? So almost everything I explained yesterday was what I later did, right? I entered those trades yesterday. Okay, so currently right now we are on GBP JPY. Okay, we closed 0 AUD early this morning when it hit TP, right? Before I woke up, Euro AUD has ETP, right? So I just want to explain those trade and of course what I'm looking for this morning. If you go back to watch the video, I told you guys yesterday that I will be waiting. Is either price comes up here and come back to retest this psychological level, and I will go long, or for price to come to this box here. If you remember on the video, you can go watch it. I said if price come back to this box here, that I'll be going long on the box, right? So I did just exact same thing that I said, right? Price came to the box, right, and we went long, right? The price was kind of a little bit slow, wasn't moving like I expected because GJ is very volatile, but for now GJ has been very slow since the beginning of this week, but we've been making money on GJ since the beginning of this week. Yesterday I told you guys we catch 2.9% on this trade yesterday, and if some of my students that are still holding their little position, of course you're not stopped out yet. Price has come down to this point here, is going back up again, so no stop out yet on GJ. But me personally, I've closed 2.9% on this trade, right? I've closed 2.9% on this trade, but this one is still running, so I'm still holding it to see what happens, right? So it's just as beautiful as that. So for this morning, what I'm looking for, I'm currently on this trade. I'm not sure if I'm going to be entering this trade this morning. If price fail to break above this point and come back to this downside here again, and we have some rejection, I'll be going long just at this point here again. Yeah, if you guys can see, I'll go long from here again. If price come back to this psychological level here, I'll go long here again. And if it doesn't wait, right, if it doesn't wait, I'm expecting it to break and continue to move above, right? With this very slow movement here, with this very slow movement that is not that volatile, I'm not really sure, but of course I'm just going to wait and see what the market does, right? I'm really hoping for price to break this, this psychological level, this 151,500. I'm hoping for price to break this psychological level today, right? That zone has been holding for a long time. I guess was because we have a very strong support at all this point here. You can see price was very strong, turns to resistance around this point here, resistance around this point here, resistance around this point here, resistance around this point here. So this zone is a very big zone, right? The price has to break it if price wants to make progress, right? Majorly this week I'm going to be looking for buys, right? So it's either I'm waiting for price to come test this point here before bouncing back up, or for price to move this much, right, and come back to this point here, right, so I can go long, right? As if all these trades are being called out on the VIP, and not just about the call out alone. I also teach this system. I teach them steady. I teach them everything I do. Want to invest in yourself, you can join the VIP, just $20, very cheap, right? It's just for your data, for the conversation and the Zoom call and all that. So that's just what the fee is for. So going to Euro AUD respected this channel as I expected, and of course it rejected this key psychological level yesterday. We went on this trade yesterday. I sold this trade day before yesterday. I sold it on Monday. This point here, we sold on Monday here to this downside here. And what happened was we got pinned out. I explained it in the previous video how we got pinned out on this trade. Trusting the system is the key, right? So we trust the system, and of course I told you guys that I'll be waiting somewhere around this point. I said it yesterday, but I'll be waiting around this point to look for entry. So gracefully we got an entry at this point here, and of course we got into the trade, and this time around it worked well. Another 3% made on that. So what I'm looking for this morning is presently right now price, break this key psychological level. So let's go to H4. Right now price has strongly break this key psychological level. If this holds, we're going to be looking for price coming to somewhere around this point and retraces back to this key psychological level. Then we'll be looking to short the market, right? And if it doesn't hold, right, if it doesn't hold and the market goes back up, right, I'll be waiting around this zone here. Of course, definitely I'm not even praying for price to come back up here, because anything that makes it come back up here is going to change market structure. So I'm expecting price to continue to the downside for the rest of today, or possibly, right, I'm expecting it to retrace a little bit back up and break this key psychological level and continue to the downside. So that is what I'm expecting on this guy here. So I'm still going to leave this guy here because this psychological level here hasn't been activated yet. So guys, on USD card, yes, we got into this trade yesterday. Yeah, we got into this trade yesterday. We got into sales yesterday. All right, I explained this one too on the last video yesterday, telling you guys that when price get to this key psychological level here, I'll be looking to go short, right? So I got into that short. Immediately I got into the trade, the market just went up to hit our stop, right? So I'm not teaching you a system where you will not have stops, right? You'll be stopped out, right? Nobody can do that. Nobody in the world can achieve that, a situation where you won't get stopped out. No, you will get stopped out, but our risk to reward and risk management is top notch. That is the reason no matter how rough that week is, I end up being profitable. That is just the beauty. I cut my losses very early, just exact way, which I lost just 1%. I was happy, I caught it. But at the end of the day, you can see that the market continues to even push further to the downside, right? The market continues to push further to the downside. We got pinned out a little bit and the market continues back to the downside, right? So this should happen basically on USD card. Based on what I can see on USD card looks so much like an uptrend, right? So much like an uptrend. But looking at Euro AUD and looking at GBP JPY, they were prettily saying something very different, right? So normally I'm supposed to look for buys just around this point here on this key psychological level here. I'm supposed to look for buys, but one thing that I'm going to do is this: I'll be waiting. I won't look for buys yet, all right? Because there's something I call pair correlation on my strategy, where I want to always look at what other pairs are doing, just to use that as extra confidence. Like, I don't mean that the strategy, but extra confidence to my action on the other pair. So I understand if USD card is buying, I understand definitely what GBP JPY must be doing at that particular time, right? So I understand those stuff, right? If Euro AUD is buying, I know what USD card is supposed to be doing, right? Of course, I can end up getting into buys if I see enough rejection just on this key psychological level. I will get into buys, right? So I wish you guys a beautiful and a splendid trading day. Okay guys, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye for now, guys.